because that's life, man. It's like chaos can be around you, and you're trying to, no, baby, everything's gonna be fine.
Right.
Hey, how
Yeah,
about if
I'm
I
at
get
Trader
that?
Joe's.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
at
what that
Trader
noise is
Joe's.
back there.
Listen, I'm gonna get you some nice wine. I'm gonna come home. We're gonna cook a juicy steak, right? We're gonna do all of that. So that is one of those things that, like, when you hit that, you're like, yo, that's real. Work and life can be crazy, and your baby's
Yep.
like, yo, what's going on? And you're like, everything's cool, man. Everything's cool. I really dug that about your character, that like you were there to help, but you also had another life that you were trying to protect,
Right.
right?
And manage.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was tough because you're like, yo, what you're doing is right, but you also know that your loved ones are like, yo, you shouldn't be doing this. So there's that tough spot that your character is in. What can we expect from season 2 of The Boys?
So season 2 of The Boys, you're definitely going to learn more about our backstory.
Mm-hmm.
So where you pick up in season 1 is Butcher, played by Carl Urban. He's
Mm-hmm.
putting the team back together again.
Yes.
In season 2, you're going to find out what broke us up in the first place.
Okay.
And then you're going to see some flashbacks of us back when we were the boys in the first iteration.
Yeah.
When we got along, because right now we don't really get along. We all have these beefs. Me and Frenchie can't stand each other's guts. We're always going at each other's throats. Well, you're going to see what created that animosity between us, and you're going to see us back when we did get along, when we were really best friends.
Yeah.
I mean, Frenchie was in Mother's Milk's wedding.
Yeah. And what's dope about the relationship between you and Frenchie is that because you pick up where you do, you can see the love, but you can also see the hate. And so half the time you're like, okay, well, I need to know why they hate each other so much. Right.
So
and like
season 2,
they give
you're going to get that.
Yeah, they give a little bit of it. Like you can see the tension, and you're like, this is the same shit this is why I didn't mess with you in the frame. You're just like, okay, I just need to see. And that part's exciting, man. If you're a fan of The Boys, if you haven't seen The Boys, it is amazing. You got to check it out. It is like Marvel and DC times 10, but like a different version of it. There's so much quality stuff there.
And you play team sports.
Yeah.
So in the locker room, what happens in the locker room, you can't bring it out on the floor. You got to leave it in the locker room.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of what you're seeing in our show is what happens in the locker room within each other. But when it's time to fight these suits, we got to put all that to the side and band together.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about it, man. It's like anybody that watched The Last Dance, that watched other that's been following sports today. They see all this conflict, whether it's the Golden State Warriors or this going on with Bron and whatever. My thing is that if you watch The Last Dance, you see there is no greatness without internal conflict. There is no team greatness. Not everybody is holding hands on their way to a championship. Right. There are levels of like frustration and pissed off and this, but then you put it all aside and then you move on. And once you accomplish said goal, you become brothers for life, whether you want to or not.
Right.
And so like that struck a chord with me. I want to talk a little bit, and we're going to get back to The Boys, because again, I could just fanboy out on that all day. You've seen so much with like the historical Black colleges. Like you went to Howard, correct?
Yes.
Yep. You went to Howard, and you see there's more of that conversation of some athletes starting to choose these schools, because that the money is made off of these athletes going there. But there's an opportunity for you to go and help some of these schools that have done so much, right? Over the years. Like, just talk. Can you fill me? I don't want to say talk about. Can you fill me in a little bit about your experience there, and like how you believe the athletes going there and raising their profiles, what that would do for that community?
So first and foremost, I am a huge proponent and fan of, and I push HBCUs for African American and all students of color. And I'm gonna tell you why. When I went to Howard University, I really didn't know what to expect. I was born and raised in D.C., and at the time, D.C. was Chocolate City. We were over 50%, 60% African American. And so I grew up seeing people of color, on all spectrums of the economic ladder. Getting to Howard University, I had 4 years of not having to wear my blackness as something that I have to defend to anyone. My teachers were black. The administrators were black. The students were black from all over the world, London, the islands, Africa, all parts of the U.S., South, West Coast. And for 4 years, it did nothing but build up my self-confidence. I never felt like my blackness was being used against me. And so it developed so much inner strength and so much mental fortitude that by the time I graduated from an HBCU, it was like a suit of armor. My blackness was my power. It was my super strength. When I graduated from Howard, I went to Wall Street first. I didn't go straight into acting.
I was going to ask you that. Keep going.
Man, and there were only 2 brothers in my class. Well, no, I take that back. There were a few others. 2 brothers from black schools in my class. Me from Howard and another brother from Morehouse. And, there's always that battle of who.
No, you're good. You're good. Keep going.
Okay, cool. So we always, at school, we always had this battle, which HBCU was better, Howard or Morehouse or Howard. But when we got to Wall Street, we realized that we had to band together. We had to become one. We had to really, and so he was helping me out in areas that I was deficient. I was helping him out. And it became, and then there were other brothers and sisters there from other Ivy League schools. But then we had this pride, man, that we had to show the Ivy League brothers and sisters that we're just as good. That our education wasn't lacking of it in any way. On top of that, all the brothers and sisters, so we had our own competition within the black folks, and then together as black folks with everybody else there, because it was a class of 300. And there were only like maybe 20 black folks, and 2 were from HBCUs. So we had to show everybody that we belonged there and that we were as good, as smart, as capable. And so we all kind of had this friendly competition that really made, again, it made our pride in what we just learned for the last 4 years, where we come from, that was our superpower. And so just to put a closing on it, man, to put a button on it, I really would love to see more of our star athletes attend HBCUs, because listen, if you are gifted and talented, you will get that look. You will get that look.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we know these kids are going to school for 15 minutes. They're going to school for 2 months and then go into the league. If 100%. You're just going to be there for a short amount of time,
100%.
Yeah, you're going to be
like Grambling, who's put so many players in football into the league, into the NFL. We can do the same thing with the NBA. I would love to see a partnership between the NBA and HBCUs, where they will guarantee that they'll give them that proper amount of scouting and those looks, because I grew up in D.C. thinking Georgetown was a black school.
Oh, yeah, because of John Thompson.
Because of John Thompson,
Alonzo
Mourning,
AI.
Allen Iverson. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
you had no idea.
Georgetown jackets, and we thought we were wearing, the same thing as Howard.
It was Michigan. It was the Wolverine gear and Georgetown gear. Then 100%. Miami came in. That was it, right? But you don't understand that you see the Miami Hurricanes and you see the makeup of their team and how dominant they are, or Michigan or Georgetown. But you don't know, once you take those teams away, that's not what the school is. That's not that is not a representation of the school. And there, again, there's no issues with like look, I went to University of Arizona, and our school is a huge basketball school, right? Like that's why you go there, because you want to go to the league, whether it's North Carolina, Duke, Arizona, Kentucky, Kansas. Those are schools that you just go to. And I'm all for it. Like, if someone was between Howard and Arizona, look, man, enjoy it. Like, spread the word. Go give that same type of effort there. One of our brothers, one of your brothers that also went to Howard, recently passed, and you know, it's, you know, because I know you have, you know, a relationship, you understand, like, can you take us through the strength that it took? Because I've never been on a movie set. I don't know how physically demanding these movie sets are to do something like Black Panther, to do something like, you know, to film 42 with Jackie Robinson, or to, I just don't know, like, the amount of mental, physical strength that it takes on top of going through what, you know, Chadwick went through. Can you just express to me, like, what that takes?
Let me tell you something, man. Knowing what he was battling now, because I didn't know back then when he was doing all these amazing, physically intensive roles. Imagine one of your hardest games going into double overtime, and having to do that for 15 hours straight. That's a movie set when you're shooting, you know, either action sequences, fight sequences. I mean, even sitting in a courtroom and having a courtroom scene.
Yeah.
That's a 15-hour day. 12 to 15 hours is our average day.
Yeah.
You know, so if you think about, you know, a game-winning, you know, fast break.
Yeah.
Ending it, you know, in a dunk situation, we would, if we were shooting that very same fast break, we would have to do that fast break probably 50 to 80 times.
I've done a 30-second commercial that it took all day to film.
So you know,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why for me, when everyone's like marveling at that he filmed these movies and this, and it's like, I know for a fact, because I've done a 30-second commercial, that, like, to film that at that level, that's days, that's months, that's like forever. Like, I can't even.
That one little fight sequence between Black Panther and Killmonger probably took about 3 to 5 days to shoot. Not to mention all of the choreography rehearsals.
Training before.
Training to learn it, dieting to look a certain way without a shirt on, keeping that diet on set. He probably wasn't eating a lot of food to keep that level of rippedness, you know, keep his salt down so that you could see the veins and vascularity.
On top of what he was going through, like, let me just say this, like, my father passed away of cancer 3 weeks ago, lung cancer. Yeah. And to see his battle with, like, trying to eat, seeing his battle with, like, hey, you got to keep your energy up, you got to eat, like, that to me hit home. I'm like, yo, he had that physique while going through, whether it was radiation or chemo, like, that is, like, next to impossible, and right, to maintain
his mental strength too, man, because I can recall at least 3 or 4 instances where I ran into him either backstage at an event or on stage at an event or on a red carpet. You never got a sense that he was going through anything. And that just, A, speaks to his mental strength, spiritual strength, and fortitude, but B, it also makes you respect things that we in general might take for granted. You know, people, you know, we have to be kinder to each other because we don't know the battles that the next man is going through. You know, and it just made me really, really sit back. I mean, this one, I ain't gonna lie, man, I really didn't have any words when this happened, and I posted my tribute to him on my page. The only thing I could say was this one really hurt. This one hurt, man, because he was a gentle soul. This man was a quiet strength. And you know, it's one of those few people that you can't find nobody to say a bad word about.
No.
You know, it's one of those few very special people that nobody has anything bad to say about him.
And what's so funny is when he was doing role after role after role, I'm going to be really, really honest. I'm going to have a moment here with you. I see him do the Thurgood Marshall, you know, story. I see him do Jackie Robinson. I see him do James Brown. I see him get Black Panther. I'm like, yo, can he share some of the wealth, right? Can he share some of the wealth? Because I'm like, yo, these are such iconic roles that will live forever. And, like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you know, I know there's some Black people in Hollywood that's like, yo, just give us one. Like, dude, you can have 3 out of the 4. Just you can't take them all. And he nailed it every single time and did it with such poise. And I used to think to myself, I'm like, I know there's got to be some brothers in Hollywood that was like, man, Chadwick, like, you got to share some of these. But then, like, you know, looking back in hindsight to see what he was going through, my level of respect just went through a whole, it's a level of respect that you can't even fathom.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Like
you know, we all live it because we do it for a living. And yeah, I mean, I cannot imagine, and it makes you feel now guilty about complaining. You know, like when you complain about how hard this day was or how bad this day was, and you think, okay, the man next to me might have been doing it, and he's fighting a whole bigger battle that I don't even know what that must feel like or be like. It makes you think, man, I really need to shut my mouth and be appreciative and thankful of how blessed I really am.
Yeah.
You know, because somebody else is doing it, fighting a whole other thing.
Yeah.
That most of us aren't even aware of.
Yeah. You know, that is a big hole. You know, for you know, my Lute Olson, the head coach of Arizona, he passed. Then Chadwick passed. And then you wake up the next day and it's John Thompson. And you're sitting here just like, we just take, you know, there's a lot of L's being given out there, you know, that understands the importance of Black Panther, not only to just the Marvel universe and what it accomplished, but also to, you know, our community. Like where do they go next? I'm not in your industry, so I don't know, but you are an actor. You've been doing this for decades. Like how does it recover? What do they do? Like how does that continue on? You know it's going to continue on. There's been 9 Supermans. There's been 7 Spider-Mans. But it was just like that, you know, it's kind of like Fast and Furious that you were a part of. Losing Paul Walker, which is another one that, like, that was, you know, it feels different when you lose people like that. How does it continue? What do they need to do?
You know, I think that I've been watching this, you know, because I'm a huge geek when it comes to following, you know, all the superhero talks and pages. A lot of people have been vouching for Shuri to take the place as the next Black Panther. You know, a lot of people have been saying that he shouldn't be recast. Others have been fighting that he should be recast. I mean, I don't know where they're going to go exactly with it. I think that they have enough of a mythology, you know, that they've built with this universe that they should not abandon it. I think if the first movie was big, I think the second one is going to be huge.
Oh, you got to
see it. It's going to be enormous.
Yeah, and look, we lost Heath Ledger after The Joker, and it was such an iconic role. He won an Oscar, and it's like you've seen these characters, like whether it's The Joker or, you know, Batman, Super. You've seen them played by so many people on different generations, but then you also look at this and you were like, there was a level of perfection that was reached with this, and then to have it like. It's like it's weird because you know it has to continue, but you don't want to touch it. Right. So whoever takes on that responsibility, it's almost unfortunate that they have to take on. Like you're rooting for them, but there's a level of like sympathy and empathy that comes with having to take on that role after what we now know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, you know, they just have to do right by Chad. You know, I think that if the first one was a tearjerker, because I did tear up a few times in the first one. I think the second one is going to be, you know, the floodgates are going to open. You know, they have to do a tribute within the movie. And so that I, as a viewer, I can't imagine how it's going to be, but I'm sure that it's going to be respectful and tasteful and show him his due respects that he deserves.
Yeah, man, that one, like I said, you know, some things
nobody expected this one, man.
No. Like honestly, man, it's been a long couple of months for this entire country. Me personally, a lot, you know, like I mentioned my dad, and all of a sudden it's just like, you know, some days you just want to wake up on Twitter and just like not read anything. And it was like literally my coach, then him, then John Thompson, and it was just like I had to stop waking up and like checking the news. I was just like, yo, I can't. Like, I can't take anything these next couple of days. You know, but yeah, you're right. It would be an amazing tribute. You got it. You got to continue the legacy. It is a beautiful legacy that, you know, I can't even imagine, because you understand, actors and people that work in your industry understand more of how impressive what he was doing. Because you could tell me that he played in he did multiple movies, but I'll never really truly know. But
you know, but even like a James Brown,
yeah,
to be able to play James Brown probably took
yes,
as much physical preparation as it took to play Black Panther.
yes, the
And to play
dancing, the
Jackie
scenes.
Robinson took as much physical preparation, because, you know, sliding into second base is no joke. And doing it 20 and 30 times for a take, to get the right take,
yeah,
is no joke.
Well, and even then, let's add one more part to it. The emotional, like, you're playing Jackie Robinson and you're trying to embody all the emotions that individual went through. You're trying to embody James Brown. Thurgood Marshall, when you start doing the research, there's an emotional weight to it. That's what we talked about with Heath Ledger and how he went through such an emotional roller coaster playing the Joker. Imagine playing these iconic figures that you can't mess up the Thurgood Marshall movie. You can't mess up the Jackie Robinson or the James Brown movie, especially because you keep getting casted in these roles. One, because you have the ability, but two, because you know how important it is to the culture and educating more people about these individuals. There's an emotional, a mental, and a physical weight on that before you ever get to actually doing the scenes in the movies. Like, that's a weight that is next level, man, when you really, really break it down.
100%, man. I mean, I'm still, I ain't gonna lie, I haven't gotten over it, you know?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten over losing Kobe,
yeah,
you know, in the beginning of the year. This has been a very, very weird and interesting year. I'm praying that we can close it off on a high note, on a positive note, and move forward from all this madness, man. And just praying that 2021 is nothing like 2020.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. But listen, I just want to say this, man. I've had you for 30 minutes. I could talk to you for another hour easily. This has been such a blessing to talk to you, man, to get someone that actually, you know, I've respected and I've watched a long time. You have so much, you know, in the future that you're doing. I'm excited to watch The Boys too. I told you I was a fan. I wanted to get that out of the way. That there's just I've been a fan of your work for a long time, man. So I appreciate everything you're doing for the culture, for the people. Congratulations, man.
Thank you, man.
Good luck on the future. If you ever have anything and you want to come on here in Sports Center and promote anything you want, I don't care. Right? Like you could come out with a new line of hats, shoes, socks, you know, whatever it is you want to come on, man. And I hope anytime you're about to do a new project, whether it's a new movie, you know, whatever it is, at the end of Boys season 2, I want you to come on here and chop it up with me. All right?
Absolutely. I'm gonna take you up on that.
That's done, man.
I want to hear you and all the fans and everybody from Sports Center to tell us what they thought of season 2.
Oh, I can't wait. Like when I saw, so I was, you know, obviously life catches up, but I was like, I was almost done with season 1. Then I saw, then I got the opportunity to watch those first 3 episodes of season 2. And I was like, I almost tried to finish it this morning. And I was like, no, I don't got enough time. Let me do this. Let me sit down at night. Let me put the TV on. Let me turn on the lights and really just lock it on the experience, man. So I appreciate you. God bless. And man, I wish you all the best moving forward.
Thank you, man. You
all
as well.
Man.
The Boys this Friday, September 4th on Amazon Prime Video.
Go check it out, man.
Season 2.
Thanks, all right, man. God bless, Laz.